you have moved into comedy. Comedy, as my voice cracks as I say it.
Comedy.
Comedy. Somebody's gonna make fun of me. That's totally fine. Um, but you have moved into comedy. I know in the past, what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
It's been like 2 years now.
Yeah, stand-up comedy, yeah.
How's that going?
Good. It's going good. I feel like it's not that nerve-wracking for me.
No.
No. So like I think my very first show, I had all the butterflies and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so scary." And I thought in my head that I did a really good job. Like at the time I was getting laughs and all this stuff, but
Right.
I like didn't really have any good jokes, and I think I was telling stories, and so people were kind of like giggling at my stories, but those stories were terrible. Like I went back and I watched the videos because they record them, and I started watching all these videos and I'm like, oh God, that's so bad. Like, and I would delete them because I would like not ever want to see them again because they were just terrible storytelling. So now it's been like 2 years and I've had like some training. I got a coach. I had someone like teach me how to like write jokes and how to, it's like more of a Jerry Seinfeld approach. So I have like a joke setup and a punch. So I know that I have actual legitimate jokes now. And so now I love watching my tapes because I can see when you tell a joke, it has to be, if you change one word or you even change the tone of the way that you tell a joke, it's the difference between winning and losing an audience. So like now I like to watch my tapes to learn, did I do better saying it this way? When I insert a few words before my punchline, does that work better? So it's been a lot more fun in the past year, but the first year was pretty tough. The first year was pretty tough. It was pretty fire.
So you've learned quite a bit.
Oh man, yeah.
You have failed a bit in that learning process.
I have failed and succeeded the same amount. I like for a year it was really hard, and then a year it was really good. And I like doing a lot of crowd work and talking to the audience and stuff. So I try to wrap people into my jokes as well. So
your style is bringing in the audience.
Yeah.
Like utilizing the audience and basing it off of what they're doing and feeding off of them.
Especially if I get more time than I can handle. Like I did a show, like my show started at 5 minutes, you know, so I didn't have any time to do any crowd work because I had to do all my bits. And then I went somewhere and they were like, I think it was Laugh Factory, and they were like, all right, you got 10 minutes tonight. And I was like, I do. Oh, okay. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I only have 5 solid fucking minutes. Like, this is going to be really hard. So I did 5 minutes of crowd work to open it up. And it was like my first time ever doing crowd work. And it was so fun because it's just like kind of picking on people a little bit.
Right.
And it's like poking fun at them. And like, I ended up finding a couple in the front that were on their like first date, which was great because a lot of my material was on dating.
Okay.
So I like scored with these 2 people, and I just started kind of like digging into them and then putting my bits into what I was saying. So it was a really good first experience. I think I got a little lucky.
Yeah.
Because then I like was like, crowd work's awesome.
Your audience is so, you don't know what you're going to get.
No.
You're having to figure
like
that one
roulette.
out.
Like everyone there is just so different. And so I like to try to play a guessing game with my audience. Like I like to look at people and try to guess what they do. I'm always very wrong.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and so
that seems like a viable way to figure out who your audience is. Yeah,
because I like look at people and I like try to like, I'm like, you know, am I am I warm? Am I cold? They're like, cold, really fucking cold. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a psychic, you know, I'm a comedian. So, and then I'll get into conversations like that, and then usually try to connect people that I talk to, and you know, he'll tell me what he does, and then I'll find out this person, like, that's an actor, he's an agent, y'all should hook up, like, you know, so yeah.
That's a nice little way. I like that.
So yeah,
I like that way of bringing in the crowd. I haven't thought about that. Yeah,
it was fun. It's been fun. So now I love doing crowd work. So now every time that I do a set, it's at least 10 minutes.
Really?
So that I can start with some crowd. Yeah, now that I'm my tapes are all 10 minutes and my sets are all 10 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to Vancouver last month and they gave me 15 minutes and I was like pump the brakes, okay? I'm like, we're not ready. We're not there yet. And
Is
then,
it that big of a deal going from like 10 to 15, like adding another 5
well,
minutes?
I mean, usually it is. Like, it means a lot to the comedian because comedians always want more stage time.
Right.
But these venues aren't like open mics or dive bars. They're like huge clubs.
Mhm.
And so when they told me that I had 15, I was like, what? I was like, okay. But I have so much material now that that's not a problem. So now I dive into like all different little facets of comedy that I've done before. I've talked about Playboy, I've talked about my divorce, I've talked about new guys that I'm dating. I talk about like all kinds of different things. My dog, like, so now if I get 15 minutes and I run out of like the material that I really wanted to work on, I'll just go into stuff that I know like hammers. So
Right.
so now 15 minutes is fun too, but I always do between 10 and 15.
But that's a lot of subjects that definitely get laughs.
Yeah.
Between Playboy, between a divorce,
Yeah.
between
I always lose my
dating.
audience a little bit on Playboy because there's a lot of the females. They see me coming, and if I come out with Playboy information, I'm like, so a little bit about me. I've had my run with Playboy, and they're like, here we go.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, no. Like a lot of people don't know what it's like to audition for Playboy, and it's like it's actually really rigorous. I mean, there's like a verbal interview, there's a written test, there's some logic puzzles. You're naked, but it's not about that.
There's a logic. Wait, there's a logic puzzles?
So
there are logic puzzles?
That joke's dead to me now, by the
Okay.
way. Like now that we missed that, I'm never gonna say it again. You're naked, but it's not about that.
Okay.
So the joke is that it's only about that.
Okay.
It's Playboy. They don't give a fuck
Yeah.
how you test. But when you do go in for Playboy, they do have you take a written essay. Like you have to do a verbal interview. You're
I can see that.
naked, but it's not about that. So it's more like all my Playboy stuff is more self-deprecating,
Okay.
where like all my material is self-deprecating. So the point of that is just saying that Playboy is all about nudity. And I'm trying.
But it is still real. You are real. Like you do have to take a written test. You do have to do all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the logic puzzles is just like a bit to ham it up a bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But like I said, that joke
Wait.
didn't land well, and I'm never saying it again.
Yeah.
It's
Done.
okay. It's done
Done.
well on stage a few times. But I guess it's like my setups before it prepare the audience. For
And
what
how
I'm
drunk
saying.
they are too.
Yeah.
So is there any jokes that you have figured out or any sets that you have figured out that really work?
All my divorce material.
Mm.
So my divorce material is like the best. Playboy's kind of iffy. My one joke that I said, like, no, everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, her shit really fucking sucks."
Right.
But it doesn't. I promise. Come to a show.
Comment with this.
Like I've been dating guys with tattoos lately, like lots of tattoos, like full sleeves and stuff. And I was asking one of them, I was like, so like, what are the tattoo? Like, why? What made you like want to get tattoos? And he's like, well, first of all, I like the way it looks, and I'm like into pain. Like people that have like lots of tattoos like enjoy pain. And I was like, well, that's great because you're gonna love me. So that's gonna really work out for both of us. And I also like to be like tattoos, like permanent. So I just don't escape people's lives usually. I'm just like, I'm gonna be just like that tattoo you have there.
Ah, that's
permanent. So I fuck around a little bit with some of the people that I'm dating. Divorce stuff's always fun though. I like to talk shit about my ex. Who doesn't?
Who wouldn't?
Who doesn't?
That's always going to get an audience going.
Yeah.
Somebody is 90% of your audience is going to know.
And everyone's
something
been
there.
through a breakup, and
Yeah.
everyone's been there. Everyone's done that, so it's very relatable material.
Very.
Yeah.
I can see that. I hear a lot of that from a lot of the comedy ones.
Yeah.
I hear because it's always about personal, whatever, self-deprecating.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
We can always laugh at it.
For sure.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. I have, in my Playboy set, I do a piece that I really enjoy. My bra's like showing, like you could tell.
You're talking about Playboy. It's comedy.
And my clothes are just magically coming off.
Whoever
as
watches
I'm
this is going to be
sitting
like,
here.
yes.
You're going to be like, make her move. I feel like, so like one of the jokes that I have in my Playboy set, since I'm never going to say this set again, this is for you guys only. Last hurrah. This
is an exclusive.
This is only an exclusive.
One exclusive.
so there's a piece where I say, a lot of like everyone has a dream, a goal that they want that they can never achieve. Mine was to be a Victoria's Secret model, but you have to be like 5'7" for that and super skinny, and I'm 5'4", so even God was like, oh, you're a little less angel and a little more Pornhub.
Perfect.
Like, that's just where I fall. I fall in this whole category, and so a lot of the Playboy stuff is about how like it's really not that great. It's just what my body type is. Like, I just capitalized on how I look.
Yeah.
And so, but that's not like what I really like. I didn't like wake up one day and be like, I want to go take my clothes off for a magazine. I want to be a playmate. Like, it was just, they found me. So they were like, and I just said yes. But yeah, so anyway, it's like a lot of it's just how like everyone has different goals, and you can't like, you just have to accept who you are.
Yeah.
So I just accepted it, and I was just like, and then it turned out to be like one of the best experiences ever. So.
And it's kept you going.
Yeah.
For a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
But you only did Playboy once.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I've been in a couple issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. I did it for a very short amount of time, but I did a lot of work in that little time. And I did like a TV show for them, and like I dabbled in Playboy for a minute.
Yeah, and then it
and then it just fizzled out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then honestly I met you.
Right after that?
I met you, and that's what
I fucking missed out on all the Playboy time.
You got me on Model Mayhem. Remember Model Mayhem?
God, when that was big, that was like 10 years ago.
It was like 10 years ago.
That was about 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah, and so like...
Well, you have a memory on that. I had to think about that one.
Well, I remember specifically the transition when you reached out to me to do commercial work.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, is this going to be
And you had that whole black and white photo. That was your main thing. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, and I was really concerned because I was like, what about this Playboy stuff that I'm doing?
Right.
And it started, remember the casting directors were like, oh, we don't want anyone that is in Playboy? Like, that shit was coming back at us, like, really hard.
It's all
like,
the time.
Yeah, so then...
It was constant.
So I quit doing it because I wanted a career shift. I didn't want to be this like nude model forever. So I got out of Playboy and I started taking acting seriously.
And it's moved.
Yeah. So now that's like that's what I do, and I don't do Playboy or anything like that anymore. But
now we just talk about it.
Yeah.
And revel in the
but like it was a piece of me, and it was something that I did, and it was something that I don't regret. You know? So it's like, even now, like, I'll have brands and stuff that come at my IG to do brand deals, and then they, like, find out that I've done some Playboy stuff. I'm like, yo, fuck you. Like, go find an Instagram model.
Yeah, they're on Instagram looking for stuff.
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah, no.
Like, yeah, go find someone. So now everyone's done nude work.
And they act, and the brands that are on the Instagram and they act like that, I'm like, you are going after these girls that have 1 million or 2 million followers.
You think
and all
that
they're doing is showing their fucking ass and tits on Snapchat and doing their...
You think that they're not...
Yeah.
You think that there's like, what? So, like, part of me is just kind of also like, wow, whatever. Like, at least I post for a classy magazine. I'm not, like, up on, like, IG Spread Eagle, you know?
Right.
Like, at least I, like, got a publicized magazine.
Go to my personal Snapchat and give me donations.
Yeah, like, no thanks.
I'll promote your water.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
I see that all the time.
Yeah. Like, hint water. I see that all the time. I'm like down for Topo Chico.
Woo! So how is it that you doing all of that and having all this other stuff going on in your life, and then you going into acting? Are you still on the acting side of things?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so where did your choice come to start doing stand up? Because that's
my divorce.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I needed therapy, but
stand up seems like the one place to get it.
That's where I went. So when I was married, towards the very end of my divorce, my marriage, I really wanted a therapist to save my marriage. Like, so we started going to a therapist, and the therapist, I remember sitting in there, and she's like, looks at me and she looks at him, and she's like, so what's your problem with him? And I'm like, well, he never lets anything go. He holds everything against me, like every single little thing I've ever done. And then like, in a conversation we could be arguing and he would just throw some shit at me that I did years ago, you know, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, let that go. So I start communicating with this therapist about how he never let anything go, and she was like, that's not your job. He needs to get over things when he's ready to get over things. And you are not the person who tells him when he needs to get over things. That's his personal work, and we're going to work on that. And she basically validated his exact fucked up thought that he never had to let anything go. So since that day, he like, that was the end of him even trying to let things go, because she basically said that it was all up to him when he decided to let things go. And the problem was he never wanted to let things go. So it killed our vibe. Like, and our marriage went like just nosedived.
Right.
Like right after that. And so I just like, when I got out of my marriage, I for sure needed a therapist. Like, I was heartbroken. I was hurt. I was damaged. You know, like, I wanted someone that could help me process things in a really healthy way. Your friends always back you up, you know, like, that's like what they do.
Yeah.
And so I wanted someone who was going to like really listen to me and try to like talk to me like an adult, not like a friend. And I couldn't go to a therapist because the last therapist that I saw fucking ruined my marriage pretty much. Like, she was like the last nail in the coffin. So I have a weird thing against therapists, because the one I tried to seek help from ended up hurting me more than helping me. And I'm not against all therapists. I think people should see therapists. I got a bad egg.
Right.
You know, and I believe that there are really good therapists out there that are like doing the work that they need to be doing. I just couldn't do it. So when I got out of my marriage, I turned to stand up, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to get up there and I'm going to start telling people what I'm going through and what I've been through and the complications that I have as a person, and just make fun of it. And so that's why my marriage material, I think, is the strongest, because I've been working it the longest.
Right.
And so I have so much stuff to do. And I know all my jokes that work. I know, like, when I lay one down, I know my heaviest hitter that gets my whole crowd like crying, laughing. And then I know my shit that gets people to go, ooh, like I like roast my ex really hard. So like,
Right.
I know all of my audience waves when I do my marriage stuff. But that's like really fun. But I'm kind of over that stuff because I've nailed it.
Right.
Like, now there's no more work to be done on that because I know I'm solid on it. So now I work on the new stuff, which is like the new tattoos, shit, boyfriend, people. And so like now I'm working on them.
You could talk about a therapist.
I could talk about a therapist. Man, if I ever had a therapist in my audience, I wouldn't even know. I'd just be like, we're done talking.
Done.
I don't want to hear anything else you have to say. Like, you're Satan. Like, no, but this is my bad experience.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
That's unfortunate because that's.
I agree. Like, I mean, and I'm not even opposed to seeing. Yeah, I am. That's a lie. I don't ever want to see another therapist again. That's just my personal.
You found another outlet to make that work.
Right. And
now,
so
where that leads to is a whole other ballgame, and where that leads to with down the road, if you ever get married or relationships again, that's a whole other thing. But at least for now,
yeah,
you have found a really good outlet.
Yeah, and it's creative and it's fun, and it gave me way more confidence in myself than a therapist, ever could have. You know, so like now, I have a lot of fun with it, and it's a hobby, and I like to write, and I can look at things lighter. And so that's like one thing that's been great too, is I can always like, oh, like there's something really funny here. Like, this is so devastating that it's kind of funny. And so I'll just find like the little quirks and kinks in it.
I think that tends to be what humans like.
Yeah, it's healthy.
We like the really
healthy
fucked up in this
happy.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the way I write. With the scripts that I have and that I've written, I've realized I'm a dark writer.
Yeah.
I try and write comedy, and I wrote a script recently, and it goes across the country, it goes into other states, and I tried to keep it as funny as possible.
Right.
And it doesn't come across very funny. It's very dark. And every one of my characters has some sort of deep emotional issues that they're bringing forward, and that's what's driving them to do all this other stuff.
Uh-huh.
But as you're reading it, and I had one of my other friends, they read it and they were like, it's actually really good. There's a lot of funny parts in it.
What's it
It's
called?
I don't have a title yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Working title.
yeah, it's totally working title, but since the characters are so fucked up and they're doing certain things, you're like on the outside, you're able to laugh at that.
Yeah.
Just like with comedy.
Right.
You're laughing about these fucked up issues that's very funny to the outside.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So was there something really was there okay, so you got into stand up by, from the divorce.
Mhm.
Was there any other sort of important factors out of that that kind of slowed you down from doing the acting side of things? Or are you still pursuing that full time?
No,
Or
yeah. I acting just kind of like slowed down in general for me. I think a lot of the scene like shifted to more of the ethnic people. Like people who just had more interesting looks, like blonde hair, big boobs. There's a lot of those girls out here.
You're like, hello, me still?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm still here. But I also like my age. It's all about your agents and stuff. My agents kind of like fell off. I had a manager that wasn't really managing me. I was just surrounded by the wrong people. And now I have a really great team. I have a new manager and she's amazing. And I'm with an agency that's really good. And so he's doing really well for me. And so it's all about the people that I had in my life. The acting slowed down because my team slowed down. And so I took that opportunity to find new people, and it's taken me a year to like build like my team. And then I also traveled a lot with stand up and did it all over the place. And now I'm starting to make like some funny sketch videos. So I want to like post. I'm probably going to drop those in like 2 months on my Instagram and start doing like a lot more comedic sketch, like 45-second videos and stuff. So
yeah,
that should help with the acting end of things too, because it's creative content.
because it's right then.
Yeah,
it's quick.
Yeah,
it's fun. Is there with doing Playboy, you're a fucking gorgeous woman.
Thank you.
You do comedy. Is there any myths? Like, what are some common myths that you've run into that people assume about you? Now, obviously, you have a social media following. People see you. You're blonde, big boobs. You got a great body, and they're like, "Oh, she's doing comedy."
Womp womp.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Do you see stuff?
Yeah.
Is there like any common myths that you kind of run into?
Well, it's like people can be funny no matter how they look, and so I feel like I get a lot of flack for being like a pretty comedian. And like I've had to dress down on stage so that like my audience just doesn't fucking hate me when I walk up. And I've also like dolled up and not given a fuck. I've just been like, whatever, this is me, And so I almost have a better attitude when I like dress up and I like am me.
Yeah.
And I force people to get on my side. So like I love having a little bit of the audience already kind of like offset, and then I'll just drop some of my big hammers so that people are like, holy shit, I like this girl, because I want to be likable,
right?
And I don't want to have to change myself for people to like what I'm saying, and it's like it's kind of backwards, because like a lot of times, like in the olden days, men would listen to beautiful women speak because if they didn't like what she was saying, at least she was pretty. Now it's kind of backwards. Now, if you don't have to be beautiful to speak. People almost prefer you to be more average looking and more relatable looking so that they can enjoy what you say without judging how you look.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because they want to feel it's relatable. Just the word you use.
It's just relatable.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like
so if I go out there with like cleavage and makeup and my hair done, people are like I almost have to like make fun of it immediately.
Right.
Like, oh, sorry guys, I just got done working out. Like it has to almost be like
I'm so hot.
Yeah, like it has to sorry, just my Equinox membership, it's like you have to almost make fun of everything immediately so people can back off and be like, oh, okay, that's part of her bit. But yeah, I guess like the part that always gets me is like, people will message me or whatever, or they'll comment on some of my pictures because I post a lot of really sexy photos. I like posting sexy photos. Like, it's just something I like to do.
Yeah.
And then I also like to do comedy just the same. So it's almost like people feel like I can't have both. Like, people are like, look, you're either funny or you're pretty. You're not funny and pretty. And it's like, why? Because you haven't seen enough of it, so it's weird and awkward to you because you're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs a therapist now?
Right.
You know, it's like, that's your problem.
Uh-huh.
So, I guess that's like a myth to me, is like, you can look however you want and still be funny, you know? And it's just, someone has to really be funny. Because there's plenty of comedians that are still really pretty that aren't funny, that I've even seen, and I'm like,
I agree.
Yeah. So as long as you're funny.
Will not say anything, but yeah, I agree. I've seen some and I'm like, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Not laughing. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
But
it happens.
Mm-hmm. Is there that's a lot of roadblocks you just mentioned, though. It seems like a lot of stuff that you could run into with pursuing an entirely other facet of business in this industry, especially going towards something that you're putting yourself right out there for everybody to see.
Right.
You know, you've got these roadblocks, you have other people, you know that you're going to get backlash from either the audience or from people on social media. Is there something that inside you have a drive to move forward regardless of what anybody says?
Oh,
or is that something that you have to...
Oh, I don't care at all. Yeah, no.
You didn't have to overcome something to say, hey.
No, I've never given a fuck.
Okay.
For lack of a better term. Zero fucks forever, you know? It's like, I almost challenge people, like, whenever someone says, like, oh, you can't do something. Like, it just makes me want to do it.
Mm.
And so I have a very aggressive attitude, and I don't allow people to affect me like that. Like, I have complete control over what I believe. And so when people try to, like, come at me or say some, like, fucked up shit, I just screenshot it and just put it in a file of, like, you know, inspiration. So I can always go back and see all those, like, fucked up mean things that people have said. And for some reason, it, like, turns me on, like some weird masochist. You know, I'm like, all of y'all motherfuckers are against me. Okay. And so then it's like, that's just material. It's just more material for me. So it's like, you know, I was doing a set, I was doing my Playboy stuff, and, I won't say the club. I remember where I was. I don't want to, like, diss the club.
No.
But I was in this club, and I was doing stand up, and I was doing some of my Playboy stuff. And this guy in the back goes, "Slut!" And it caught me so off guard. I was like, "Whoa, sir. Can you please call your wife after the show? Thank you." And then, like, everyone just died. But when he said it, for some reason, I really didn't picture him saying it to me. I thought he just yelled it. And it really reminded me of being in someone's house. And, like, the guy's like, "You slut!" Like, yo, chill.
You're just yelling it to somebody.
Yeah, just yelling it. I was like, yo, you need to call your wife after the show. And it was just like, and then it hit me that and then everyone started laughing. And then I was like, wait, yo, was he saying that to me? Like, no way. And so some of this shit is so unbelievable to me. Like, the shit people say, it's like unbelievable. I'm like, you had fucking the smallest size balls I've ever seen. Like, how is that even possible? Like, you're so lame. How could you be so lame? And then come to find out, he was another comedian.
Oh.
He wasn't even an audience member. And I'm like, how fucking lame can you possibly be? Like, seriously?
So he was doing that over you as another comedian.
He was, like, on Next. And he
was he funny? Is he funny?
Oh, I mean, I didn't even, like...
You didn't watch him?
So, first of all, I didn't know...
So maybe he was, like, trying to take you down.
I didn't know. I didn't know that he was another comedian. I didn't know he was the guy going on after me. I had to ask the club manager to point out whoever said that to me later, because it was on the tape. And then she told me who it was, and I was like, he was one of the comedians on the run. Like, what are you talking about? My heckler was another comedian? Like, you don't do that.
Right.
Like, you don't comedians don't heckle other
Unless they
comedians.
have something against you or something.
Like, even then, like, respect.
Right.
Like, respect your fucking partners. Like, we're on a lineup together.
Yeah.
Let an audience member heckle me. Let someone who's there drinking, getting fucked up, talk to me. I'm all about talking to my audience. But, like, my audience.
Right.
You're not part of my audience. You're a comedian.
You're the next guy.
You're a professional comedian that is also getting up there and going to say some vulnerable stuff, that is also been through stuff, also working material, who should also be nervous. You know, like, what are you doing coming at me? We're two professionals trying to do the same craft, and you're going to heckle me? Loser. So, yeah, I messaged the guy on Instagram, and I was like, hey, I just want to thank you for shouting me out while I was up on stage, because you gave me one of the best comebacks I think I've ever had. I was like, seriously, like, thank God I'm so on my toes all the time. Like, you just prepared me for the next. Thank you. Next.
You like that. You need that.
Yeah,
you need the fire. You need the
I
fight.
totally need it.
Yeah.
So like that's like a perfect example of someone who like tried to discourage me, and it like ended up really being super helpful.
Yeah.
Cuz like I love that story now. I love that that's like what happened to me.
You're on it.
So it was like, whoa.
I understand exactly what you're talking about with when people give you negative things, or they come at you with something that isn't good.
Yeah.
In a sense, it just kind of fires you up.
Right?
You want to go against the grain.
Yeah.
In a sense, you want to go against it. I understand that completely, because every time somebody says, "Don't do this," I'm like,
I'm
so
sure
I should do it?
doing it.
Can you tell me a reason why I shouldn't? Should I not?
Like, unless it's like some crazy shit, like, do not jump on that sword, you know, then you're like, okay, common sense. Right. But like, for the most part, if someone's like, you know, Ryan, I think this podcast is a really bad idea. You know, like, this is really, are you sure? Are you sure that you want to spend all this money and have all these cameras? You know what I mean? Like, for what?
Right.
Like, you're like,
I'm going to be like, well, guess what? I'm going to do it 20 times over.
That's right.
Just to prove it to you.
And now I'm going to have like more people on my show, and I'm going to work harder and faster and like overcome it. And then eventually you're going to feel so small that you're going to want to come back, and I'm not going to have time because I'm going to be interviewing celebrities. But that's just me, you know. And it's like that's how people in general I wish could be more of, instead of getting so like offended and need their like safe space. You know, I wish that they could just break out and be like more tough, you know, like the world needs more tough people. Those are the people that are doing stand up. The people who are tough. Those are the people that are like waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to work, and that have these hard jobs, and people that, you know, there's just not enough hard, tough people. I'm not saying you have to be tough to be cool or tough to be good, but like, there's definitely not enough of it. There's too many people like
putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's people putting in the work and not being afraid of things.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
And it's also like, you know, I could have called the club, and I could have been like, yo, one of your fucking other comedians on the lineup like did this. I think it's really disrespectful. I'm going to go on my Instagram. I'm going to blast your club that you have these comedians come through, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could have like, you know, made this huge stink about it, but I didn't. Like, and I think that's also like a lot of what people are doing today too, is people make the biggest things out of something that is just so small that they could just digest and just handle it and get over it and use it as firepower, you know, instead of like trying to hurt other people or companies. Like, I think I'm also like very pro handle that shit yourself. Yeah. Because there's something that you need to work through. If something's bothering you that much, you have problems, and you can't just take it out on like everybody. So it's like, that's like another thing that like really bothers me too. I'm like, just handle it. Today, I was hiking. I was up Runyon, and I was up the highest part of the mountain. I get to the top, and I'm like dying. And this like kid and his two friends, they're like, excuse me, could we ask you like a really stupid question? And I'm like, always. And he's like, how do we get down?
I
And
don't,
I
like,
go,
for real?
that's what he said. How
How
do
do
I
we?
get down? And I said, walk. You suck it up!
Did they take a gondola up there or something? Like what? How did they get down?
What do you mean, how do you get down? You fucking walk. You go down the mountain. So that's exactly how I said. I was like, walk and suck it up! Like a fire drill sergeant. Like there's something in me just like screamed at him. Like I wish I had a whistle like Private Ryan? Is that Major Payne?
Yeah.
Like that's how like I imagined myself in that moment. I wish I had like the sergeant. I just like, you get your fucking ass back down that mountain. Like, that's like exactly what I like wanted to say. Like, you got yourself up here, son. You get yourself back down. Like, and I. Like that's like
I'm picturing you in the
hat,
right
like
now.
that's like
Drill
exactly
sergeant
what I
hat.
wanted to do. And this kid just like, oh, he tore me up at the top, and my abs were already killing me. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, that fucking idiot. Like he doesn't even know how to get down. He's like, gets to the I was just dead. I was so dead. I was like, that's so. And I was with my friend Amy, and we were both just dying. And she was like, that kid, like, because the mountain was so steep, so he like climbs the mountain, and like no one else was up there.
I mean,
so,
you're on a trail though, right?
well, so like
Or no?
So this was a little. I mean, it's a trail. Yes,
There's still a trail.
Yes, there's still a trail.
There's a path.
Yes, there's a path that goes up to
It's
the
not
mountain.
like you're on the side of a fucking rock and you're like, where do we
no,
go?
and then the trail like stops. You go up this mountain, which is like, okay, it's not a mountain, all right, it's a hill.
And it's Runyon Canyon.
It's Runyon Canyon. It's the
Yeah.
bitchiest hill.
Yeah.
It's like, one layer away from being an anthill.
Right.
It's like just a little bigger. And so like he climbs the thing, and like all he had to do also is there's another trail that like leads straight down. Like all he had to do was just keep walking, but he like gets up there and his friends, and they're just like, whoa, how do we get off the mountain?
Maybe they're high.
Who knows?
High as can be.
I was just like, I wish I just could put on my Major Payne hat. Oh, I was so pissed. I was like, you guys, y'all are killing me. So that was today. And I was just like,
Oh, man. I don't want snowflakes.
Snowflakes.
I don't know what else to say.
That's what I'm saying.
It's these type of people
That's
that,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
Someone needs to turn on some heat lamps.
Yeah. They need to, they really need to get their head examined and figure things out.
Yeah.
With all of that going on,
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything, before we wrap it up here, is there anything that you want to talk about, or did we miss something here with all your comedy and stuff going on?
I don't think so. We talked about all the fun stuff.
We did talk about the fun
We
stuff.
talked about all the fun stuff. It was also good to just catch up with you because I haven't
Yes.
seen you in so long.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
A long while. You were out of state, though, for a while, too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, you had moved for a little bit.
Yeah, I moved to New York for just a month.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot longer.
No, it was only a month.
And then you're moving back and forth, so that's why time goes by.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, and then I was traveling back and forth.
that's what it was.
Yeah, but that was another reason why a lot of my acting stuff like didn't really work out either, is because I was all over the place. Like I wasn't really focused, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to move to New York to do stand up. Like I really wanted to pursue that there because it's the mecca of stand up.
Right.
That's where all of it happens.
Yeah.
And so I just realized that like maybe I don't want to do stand up professionally. I'd rather do sketch comedy and the videos that I want to do, these little comedy videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to try to see how well I can do with that. And then I want to get more into acting. So I want to be more into the TVs and the films and stuff. And I think that the stand up is really fun, but you really have to pick to be really good at something. You have to pick what you want to do.
Right.
And stand up isn't a lightweight thing. You can't just take it as a hobby, really. You can, but then you're just not going to be as good. You have to write all the time. You have to be doing shows like every night. You have to have like someone who's booking you shows. You got to start making money doing it. Then there's traveling, and then you're doing colleges, and then you get on the road, and a lot of it's money out of your own pocket. And I just like, I love stand-up, but I don't love the stand-up lifestyle. Like, I don't love what you have to do to make it.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you really have to love it. Like, you have to love that hustle. And I know how it is to love a hustle. You know, like, I like the acting hustle. Like, I like all the auditions. Like, I like hustling that. Like, I like, you know, finding the agents that I want to work with and learning the lines and being a piece of projects. Like, I like the outcome. I like, you know, the premieres. Like, I love everything about acting. So that's an easy hustle for me because I'm passionate about that. But stand up, like, I'm only passionate about one aspect. Then there's all these other aspects that I'm like, no, I don't really want to do that. Like, I don't want to, no, I don't want to do that. You know, I don't love the hustle.
Right.
There's comedians that love that hustle. I know a lot of them. And they're like, that's their dream. That's their one drive. And I'm like, damn, I could never compete with you. Because your whole life force is like after it. And mine's just like a little bit here for fun.
Right.
You know? So this year, I'm trying to take more focus on what I really want to accomplish as a person. And that's why I want to do my sketch videos. Because I feel like that way I can be writing and acting and filming and creating content. And I'm writing a pilot. And I want to just get more. I want to move back to the acting world, but I guess that's why I want to do my sketches, is because I want to like merge stand up and acting.
Right.
So instead of
it's a great format. It's a great medium.
Instead of being just the actress going out for all these auditions and not creating my own content, I want to create my own. So that, and I have all these ideas. These stand up inspires comedy sketches because you come up with stories and like funny little bits. And instead of saying the bit, if you do an act out, that's what a sketch is.
Right.
So it's more of like putting the comedy into a physical format instead of verbal. So I'm just gonna reformat my stand up into sketches and just try to go that way.
Nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's like my whole MO right now.
You have the goal. You have the plan.
Yeah,
that's what we like.
It only took 2 years, but hey, we got there.
Getting there is half the battle.
Yeah,
that is what it is.
Totally.
So, Lauren, it was nice having you on here for this episode.
Thank you. It was so nice being here.
Yes, and we will look forward to seeing you on all these new sketches coming out.
Cool. Sounds good.
And stand up. Nice.
Oh, that was so shitty.
That was
even worse.
There we go.
Third time's a charm.